Hey Karabo, welcome. Bishville, thanks for joining, brother. Please, will you request to go live with me? Karabo, I went to HTA myself in Randburg. I don't know if you're familiar with that school.
Oh,
Hey, brother.
hey, Kagiso, how are you?
I'm alright. How you doing, sir?
Great, I'm great. What's going on?
That's fantastic. Hey, thanks for joining, man.
Yo, it's been a long time since we spoke, and since we've been planning to do a live for a long time. So I'm happy to be here.
Uh,
Yes,
that, that's right. That's right. And it's taken us a bit of time, and I guess the lockdown has forced to actually
definitely,
focus now and get things going.
definitely.
All right. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to the first official Chef Chats. It's a conversation about putting the knives down, and this is specifically because of the lockdown that's got us really rethinking business, rethinking food, and how we're going to serve our clients in the future.
Cool.
And today we have with us my brother, someone whose food I've enjoyed. Got some time to spend with him in the kitchen, and really amazing gentleman. And I'd like to introduce you to Chef Kwame, all the way from Ghana. I know Mimi is watching. She's also from Ghana. I think she's written there even in the comment section. Welcome, Mimi. I'm just going to do a little quick, brief intro on who we're sitting with. Kwame is, a private chef and an owner of an exclusive concept in the food industry in Ghana, popularly known as Accra's nomadic chef. You got to tell me more about that. Kwame is the owner of Bishville, which is a boutique catering business, and a private chef from the Private Chef Company, an exclusive private chef outlet catering to top personalities around the world. Welcome, brother.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here, bro.
Awesome. So these are conversations about putting the knife down, like I said, bro. And just quickly give our people, quick intro. Who are you? What do you do? And a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I think you've pretty much said everything. My name is Kwame. I hail from Ghana, and I run two businesses in the food industry. One being a boutique catering business, which is called Bill, and the other being a private chef company, which is also called the Private Chef Company. I've been doing this for I've been cooking professionally for 5 years, and I started with my boutique catering business, which is Bitchville. So before, when I started, I wanted to solve two main problems that I realized, which is the fact that African food has been relegated to the background. And the only reason why African food has been relegated to the background is because of, I think, the lack of interest due to bad presentation of food. So then I decided to do something about it. If you look at about 90 to 95% of restaurants across Africa, continental cuisine dominates, and the indigenous African food is being ignored. And that's just because the African food is not presented really well. So I decided to do something about that by starting a fusion cuisine, which you can call Afrofusion, which is adding African flavors to continental dishes, which would spark up the interest of people with with the African. So that was a start point to give people the African feel and also give them the opportunity to taste some of the flavors that come from our continent and some of the things they were used to eating when they were younger that they have thrown to the background now. So a feel of that, and then that will be able to spark up the interest in African food again. The second,
100%.
the second reason why I started my business was the fact that when I was growing up, I was used to sitting together around the table to eat with my family. And then once we moved into the bigger city, that tradition of sitting down together with the family to eat, where meaningful conversations came up, basically lost. So I decided to start a nomadic dining experience, which I did every month, which brought people together on a table, and then they were treated to a series of courses of meals, and then they could have meaningful conversations about life, business, relationships, religion, and like just basically economic things that were going on, and their take and their opinion on it. So due to these two reasons, I decided to start my business to try and make an impact. I've always loved cooking. The second company, which is Private Chef Company, only came about last year, which was an arm or a product under the mother company, Bishville, which was growing more. I think it was the most patronized branch of the business, so I decided to make it an independent company on its own. So it's called the Private Chef Company.
Sounds amazing, man. Really, really, I think awesome work that you're doing. I mean, it's been 5 years. By no means in the culinary world is that a long time, but we know to stick it out actually for 5 years. That's not something that a lot of businesses can achieve. So well done to you on that. I mean, and just quickly before we go ahead, where does the whole name Bishop come from? I mean, I see it in a couple of articles. I'm seeing it obviously in the name of the business. Just wrap my head around that.
So, Bishops was basically a nickname I had in high school, which is also a long story that we don't have to go into. But yeah, it was a nickname I had in high school, and I coined a name for my business out of Bishops. So basically, because I was starting a nomadic and a boutique catering business, I wanted something that was familiar to me and familiar
Yeah,
to the concept I was trying to bring, which
yeah,
was African food, homemade food, right? So
100%.
Bishville means Bishop's house, right?
Ah,
And then Ville,
ah,
Bishops and Ville put together to form Bishville.
nice. Nice, nice, nice. I
Yeah.
love that. I mean, I can attest to the fact that my business gets its name from a name that I got in varsity. I
Oh,
started my business in 2012. And luckily for me, when we are called up to the podium, when we got our names on that first evening, the
mm-hmm.
guy who I went up with, his name was Long Walk, and I got the freedom part.
Yeah,
So I was kind of lucky to get the end versus the first part because there could have been a very funny thing to have a kitchen called Long
yeah.
Walk's Kitchen.
That's really
So
interesting.
so that's dope. I really like that. I really like that name, and I really like the fact that it's really got a sense of home to it, and it really speaks to the clients that you're trying to speak to and serve, and ultimately give them a great experience in terms of food. So that's really amazing. Now the big question is: have you put down your knives during this pandemic?
Kagiso, I think if you will testify, because we are very passionate about what we do and because we love what we do, and it almost doesn't feel like work, it's very hard for us to put down knives, you know.
Yeah,
But this period, this pandemic period, I've also begun to learn a lot more about myself and my business.
yeah.
And I think I'll say yes. At some point, I put down the knives, and I'll say no as well. I'll tackle the no first. No, because I was still trying to find innovative way to make.
And I got the freedom part.
Yes,
So I was kind of lucky to get the end versus the first part because there could have been a very funny thing to have a kitchen called Long
yes,
Walk's Kitchen.
That's really
So,
interesting.
so that's dope. I really like that. I really like that name, and I really like the fact that it's really got a sense of home to it, and it really speaks to the clients that you're trying to speak to and serve, and ultimately give them a great experience in terms of food. So that's really amazing. Now, the big question is: have you put down your knives during this pandemic?
Kagiso, I think if you will testify, because we are very passionate about what we do and because we love what we do, and it almost doesn't feel like work, it's very hard for us to put down knives, you know.
Yeah,
But this period, this pandemic period, I've also begun to learn a lot more about myself and my business.
yeah,
And I think I'll say yes. At some point, I put down the knives, and I'll say no as well. I'll tackle the no first. No, because I was still trying to find innovative way to make my business relevant during this period. So
100%.
I started a series on YouTube called Kitchen Quarantine, which was basically teaching basic recipes that you can make at home this period.
Sure,
So, I would say I was still working in some way. Now, I would say
sure.
no also because um, I've begun to reflect on the journey that I started, the mistakes that I made. I've realized the strengths that I have and the weaknesses that I have, and I've put the knives down now to really
Yeah,
reflect how to move
yes.
forward, what direction to go. So there's been a lot of planning this period. There's been a lot of reflection. There's been a lot of risk strategizing and risk structure of the business model. And I think if you look at it from that aspect as well, then it means I put my eyes down for a bit to really concentrate and see how I can remain relevant in terms of planning and in terms of
Sure.
not necessarily cooking, but like just looking at the structure of the business rather than, right? So in some way, I'll say yes, the knives, but because we are very passionate about what we do, you know, putting the knives down totally basically impossible.
It's almost impossible. I agree with you 100%. And I mean, I think the follow up to that really is then to speak about how has the pandemic affected your business. I mean, I know for a fact that our pockets have taken a hit. I know that our plans have taken a hit. We had a lot of things that we wanted to do, and our
So
businesses are primarily founded on people getting together in decent numbers in order for us to thrive. So that obviously has pushed you back a bit. And so I want you to just touch on some of those things that you're starting to see or how you've been affected thus far.
I think globally, the pandemic has just been a step back and a drawback for a lot of businesses. Most of businesses have been on halt. Profits have been dwindling all the way down. Plans have
Mm,
just not progressive as we would want. I think the main challenges I have faced is I had a lot of bookings that had to be cancelled, and monies had to be refunded.
yeah, yeah,
Supply from different countries coming into the country and not being in use because the parties and the events that these supplies were going to be used for have basically been cancelled or postponed. So you have an issue with supply as well, where if they are very delicate stuff which can get spoiled, you suffer the risk of losing a lot of money. So I mean,
yeah,
financially, big toll because money is not coming in as it used to come, one. And then two, you have spent so much on supplies, and then now the supplies, they are just sitting down doing nothing. And basically, it makes you think and find different ways to be innovative with your business.
that's
So
true.
if later on we'll talk about how I've tried to find
Yeah,
a way
yeah,
out. I think
100%.
been a big tool. It's been a big tool. Like especially with events, I had a series of events lined up between March and now, which have all been cancelled, and because we are, we also need to practice social distancing and all of that. Even if you are called for an event, the numbers have really shrunk, all the way,
100%.
and that obviously has an impact on finance or on the inflow of revenue into the business. So it's been very hectic. It's been a very unfortunate season, but I try to look at the positive things that I can pick out from. I mean, there's a lot of money lost. There's a lot of experiences that, because I'm a private chef, I travel a lot to different countries to cook, and a lot of these plans have been cancelled, and it's quite sad. But I mean, you have to look at the positive things that the uh, pandemic presents, and
Yeah.
find a way to be very innovative about structuring your business and placing your business in the minds of people.
That's true. No, I hear that. I mean, and I hope at some point I'll have an opportunity to, delve into the little bit about my business and how things have been going. But this is really about you, and I really want to, get into the meat of how really the period has been. And for me, the one thing though that I think is a positive, and we can perhaps talk about that, is the people that we've gotten closer to in this time. Obviously we've got a lot of time, and we are in small or confined spaces rather. And in most cases, if you're lucky, you've got someone with you there. But who is that person for you? I mean, who have you been close to? Who are you getting closer to? And who's been that person that's kind of been your pillar?
It's very, very unfortunate because I live alone, and I'm a very lone wolf. But I would say I've been my whole life I've been very close to my mother, and she has been a great support for me this period because usually I would call her every week just to check up on her and all of that. But now I have to stay in constant contact, just so she can give me words of encouragement, and through this hard time where businesses are not doing as well as they used to, she can just. So I think my relationship with her has grown a lot more stronger. Um, for some very weird reason, there has not been any, person I can, pinpoint and say I have drawn closer to this period. I also
Yeah.
have been a journey of self actualization, and I've tried
Mm.
it and tried to look within myself and see, my capabilities, because one thing this pandemic has really revealed to me was the fact that I was, and it's a hard truth, I was very comfortable before. That's
Yes.
the biggest
Yes.
lesson this whole pandemic. I was very comfortable, and I only did things that made me comfortable.
Sure.
I mean, I went out of my comfort zone a couple of times, but I
Mm.
could have done more. And this period has basically enlightened and opened my eyes to a lot of opportunities
Yeah.
that surrounds me, and a lot of things that I thought I would never go into, that I've now started as an innovation for my business, and has really improved my business and has made my business basically, it's turning my business into a household name, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all I can think about particular.
Um, you, you
Uh,
know, obvi- obviously, I think, you are in a very privileged position in terms of, Ghana, because I know for a fact that you are top 50 of the young people in the country to be recognized, for the work that you do. So it's definitely amazing that you can still keep your head up high during the times, innovate, and push the boundaries. It's very important. I think being comfortable is long gone.
I,
Even this platform on its own,
I mean,
pushes you
after this
to
whole thing,
really deal.
I really have a lot of plans that I have to carry out for my business, which I feel like I should have thought about these things way before. If
Yeah,
this
yeah,
pandemic didn't happen, I wouldn't really have thought about some of these very important subjects. So, I mean, it's been an eye-opening experience, that I can tell you.
That's good. That's good. And talking about new things, Kwame, food is obviously what we do. It's what we love. And a lot of the times we stay within our comforts where food is concerned. Is there anything new that you've tried since the pandemic and since you've had some time?
Yeah, so I never believed in food delivery system
Okay,
because of I think the main reason why I didn't believe in the food delivery system is because of the poor delivery outlets we have here in Ghana and let me say here in Africa. You know,
sure.
up elsewhere in the more developed countries, you have a good food delivery channel system where your food leaves the restaurant or wherever you are ordering it from, and you get it the same way it left the restaurant, right?
Mm, mm,
Yeah.
mm,
That even the dispatch riders and the motor riders who carry the food or the cars that carry the food, because of factors like bad roads and poor hygiene and just carelessness, you order food and then you get it in a very, disturbed way or very, you don't get it the same way you order. But what I did was I started a delivery, but a very, very different, very innovative, and I presented it in a very innovative way. So I started this family combo box, which is basically a box that you get with different kinds of food inside. And
yeah,
bear in mind, this is
yeah.
way out of my comfort zone because my business, we don't cook and transport, we don't cook and
Mm,
bring, we on site. So if we have
yeah,
bookings, we use the client's kitchen, or if you don't have a kitchen or you don't want us to use your kitchen, we set up our own kitchen and we operate from there. So we cook, we make food fresh and serve fresh right from fire. So it was
100%.
a step that I took. But what I did with the delivery system was if you live within my office area, we deliver. So we put it in a car and the box gets to you in the same way that it came from the kitchen. But if
Sure,
you outside my office area, you have to pick up the food. So
sure,
wherever
sure.
you have to drive and come pick up. I mean, it may sound very inconvenient, but it's worth it.
Yeah,
People also would like to know, especially if you look at the kind of clientele I have, they would rather come and pick up than send an Uber to pick it up or
sure.
rather let their driver just drive and come and pick it than give it to somebody else who they don't absolutely don't know and then
Yeah,
just transport it to them. So I started it's been very it's been an interesting journey. But I think maybe after the pandemic, it may be something that we will look into going into as a separate venture and not even as part of the kind of services we offer. Because the services we offer, because we do more of dining experiences that ranges between 2 to 12 course meals. We like to cook fresh and cook on site and deliver on site. But yes, that is a new thing I tried. I also tried out. I've tried out a lot of recipes that I wasn't really enthused into getting into cooking, and some of
yeah.
some ingredients I wasn't comfortable with using, and now I've just opened up my
Mm,
taking all of these things, and I absolutely loved it. I absolutely
yeah,
loved it,
yeah.
and it's been great, I must say.
No, that's absolutely amazing, and I mean that's what this period is about. It's about reflecting. It's about learning new skills, and it's not everybody that needs to learn something new. It's not everyone that needs to come out of this box or come out of comfort zones. But I think as an entrepreneur, as a businessman, it is very critical to remain relevant and to
Definitely.
keep your business top of mind. I know all about delivery woes. I've been there. Second week of lockdown, we started, with delivery of foods. And I can tell you now, bruv, we found food spilt out, got pictures of people who are unhappy. And fortunately, we have the type of clients that are very reasonable in how they think and how much they respect the business, and that they're not going to go straight to social media and say, oh my God, look at this. They'd rather speak to you first and then engage you on that issue so you can fix it. And we've obviously fixed a lot of things along the way. So definite great learning for us as well.
I really don't want to deal with delivery. I just really want to cook good food and find a way to get it to people as it came out, right? So
Yeah.
it's either up or we deliver within there. So the proximity of like where we are. So I live in a suburb in Accra called East Legon. So we only deliver East Legon. So for instance, if it was in South Africa, maybe Sandton, and we only deliver in a region of Sandton, right? And don't
Yeah.
go. So meaning if you order and you're outside Sandton, you need to come and pick it up, or you need to send a driver
Sure.
to pick it up. And that way, once the food is picked up from our premises, you are liable for
Yeah.
what happens to the food, right?
100%. No, I hear that, and it is a difficulty, it's a challenge, and there's opportunity where there's challenges always. But talking about things that we're doing that are outside of our comfort zones, there's something that I read a little bit about, and I watched a couple of videos. There's a foundation and a campaign that you are part of right now, called is it Luku Luku
Look,
Luku?
yes, Luku, yes.
You wanna tell me more about that, bro? Because I really am a huge fan of celebrating people, of helping where we can, and giving back. So I'm assuming this got a little bit to do with that.
Yeah. So everybody who knows me knows I'm a very kind and giving person. And about close to 4 years ago, the UN, a subsidiary under the UN, which is the UNHCR, which is the body that deals with refugee situations all over the world, um, they reached out to me because I think at that time there was a lot of buzz about my
Mm,
business, and that was the initial stages. I had just come fresh out of the university. I started my business in the university, and I had just come out fresh, and I was gonna go hard at the business. So I was working really hard, and I'm happy my hard work paid off for the UN to recognize what I was doing, to reach out to me, to bring me on board this campaign. So basically, the Lukuluku campaign is a campaign geared towards Africans supporting Africans. So if you look at the history of Africans, we are always dependent on
yeah,
foreign and loans and all of that. But the
yeah,
local campaign is sought to create awareness and raise funds for refugees in Africa, and
mm,
the raised by Africans, right? So Lukuluku picked influencers or celebrities in all the countries in Africa that they are present. So in South Africa, they have a few. In Nigeria, they have Two-Face, Indibia, and all of these people. And the role of these people are to create awareness first and foremost that the refugee situation in Africa is crazy. If you look at just in Ghana, we have 4 refugee camps, right? And I personally visited the refugee camps and cooked with the women, and
yes, yeah,
very sad. You can imagine people who were doctors, who were pharmacists, who were teachers back in their home country, and because of war or because of unrest in their country, they flee to another country, and then they can't even have certificates to prove that they were doctors or they were teachers.
yeah, yeah,
And also, the language barrier has just really not allowed them to practice what they could do. And these
yeah,
people I won't say poor people, but they have now become people who depend on the government to even eat. So if you look at the situation at the refugee camps, you can have a small tent which is really hot that takes a
mm,
family of 7 or a family of 10 in it, and it's just a very bad situation. So what the UN did was to take us to the refugee camp so we could see for ourselves and see exactly what we can do to help. So then I was very interested as soon as I went to the refugee camp. So I decided to create awareness for the campaign. and also try and raise funds for the campaign. So what I've done so far is I've done some uh, 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 cocktail events where I make food and people come and then they make pledges and donations for the UN. And then I also have auctioned my services for people and also
Nice.
made some personal to the thing. So the Luku Luku, if you guys can check it out, Luku Luku campaign, and support any way that you can. It's
Yeah,
very important that Africans, we help our own brothers and sisters. It's
that's amazing.
listen to some of the refugee stories, and it's very disheartening.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you are human, this is something you should care about, and this is something you should try to support.
100%. No, I'm with you on that 100%. And look, I'm definitely going to get in touch around that. We obviously have a lot of work to do together, and I'm still looking forward to that. And I mean, I'd love to be part of those kinds of initiatives as well, because it speaks a lot to a lot of stuff that I'm passionate about myself. Welcome to everyone who's just joined us. It's the Chef Chat, and we're hanging out with Chef Kwame, all the way in Ghana. And he's just really talking to us about his life and his business and how the pandemic has been affecting him. Speaking of, hardships and not having, if you had one thing that you could eat for life, what would that one thing be?
This is a very difficult question because I'm very I don't have very specific things that I like more than other things. I love food.
Sure.
And I like to eat a lot of things. Fortunately for me, I'm not allergic to anything or I don't hate anything. So I eat a lot of things. So this is quite hard. I don't know which,
They've
uh,
they're giving you options there. I'm
yeah,
seeing ground nut soup and
I'll
plantain.
omuto and granite soup. And omuto and granite soup is basically rice cooked so soft and made into balls, and then it's paired with granite soup. So granite soup is soup made from out of granite paste, and then you can pair it with chicken, beef, goat meat. I love it.
I
I
think
can eat that.
I think we need to make that. I think we need to make that in one live one of these days. Let me see if I can find those ingredients. Mimi can help me probably.
When I was in South,
And
I made it for my host. She's in the comments. V, V, hey, I see.
nice.
Yes, she's in Ghana. Yes, so yeah, so I found the things in South Africa when I was there. So I think you should be able to find it. It's very
Fantastic.
easy and it's very delicious. It's amazing, and Ghanaians love it.
That's that is dope. That
Yes,
is dope.
you say I made it, you didn't show up.
Hey, look, man. At least I showed up for one dinner. So I want you to tell me, what do you think the future of food is? And I think we've touched a little bit on that, but I think on a global scale, what are your thoughts around where our future, what things are looking like in the future?
I think people don't really get the scope or don't really understand the impact that this pandemic is going to have on the world in terms of economy and in terms of business, right? Everything is going to change. Things are going, for instance, yourself and myself, our businesses are centered a lot on people coming together and having happy moments and having experiences. Now people are even scared to go out and associate with friends, you know. So I think the world is changing and we have to change with it. I think the scope of the pandemic has affected a lot of things and a lot of businesses. Some businesses may not even bounce back from this
Yeah.
period. And the businesses that are lucky enough to stay relevant now and stay relevant after this whole pandemic is over. I mean, whether it's going to be over or not, after this whole thing is cleared out,
Mm,
need to find innovative ways. They need to find different ways to present their businesses to people and their ideas to people. I myself, I'm looking for different ways to, penetrate into different kinds of segments in the market and try to reach out and look at some of the things that people need so I can still remain relevant, after this whole pandemic. I think the world is going to change for the food business. People have already decided not to go out to eat or visit restaurants to eat, and they want to eat at home. So you can see restaurants are starting strong delivery systems where they get a food and all of that. I think the world is going to move towards that direction where it will take us some time before we can before public gatherings can be normalized, and between now and that is normalized again, or people are comfortable enough to go out if there's a vaccine. Between now and then, it's a time to test our ability to think and our ability to be innovative about things. And
100%.
I am praying a lot that a lot of businesses will be able to go through this whole period, which is very difficult. But I'm praying that people will be able to go through it, and then we will all come to sustain and our business is still relevant, right?
Yeah, no, I hear you 100%. And it is a real challenge, but we have to figure it out. We really don't have much of a choice.
Definitely.
Speaking of people cooking at home, and I mean, there's lots of us now cooking at home. There's so many chefs. What's the one piece of advice or kitchen tip that you'd give to our cooks out there?
Um, I mean, if if people are already, if this season has pushed you to start cooking a lot more and start, making your own food, you realize one thing cooking is very therapeutic. It relaxes you, and then because of the stages of cooking, it helps you think as know. I think what I would say is cooking is all about experimenting. So you can cross the boundaries, you can try different things, you can mix different things, and see how you get it, how it comes out, right? So try experiment new things. I've been experimenting and trying to see ingredients that pair well together and ingredients that do not pair well
Yeah,
together at all. So cooking is about experimenting. So try your hands on different things. You never know. You may create a world-class dish in the comfort of your home without even knowing. And then through that, you invite your friends, you make it for them, and then
yeah, yeah,
restaurant on their menu, or you may even look at going into the food business.
yeah,
Which for me has been the best tip that I was given when I was starting was always to use sharp knives. So I have good quality knives, always sharp. And once you have a good set of knives, efficiency is guaranteed. You can work fast, you can work really well, but you have to be careful if you're not a professional cook or a professional chef that you don't cut yourself or injure
yeah,
yourself.
yeah.
So that is what I can say with.
I have to absolutely, unequivocally agree with sharp knives. I
That,
say this all the time because nothing is more dangerous than a blunt knife. That's the reality and the
that
truth in the kitchen. And so, Kwame, with that, my brother, I'd really love to thank you for taking out some time to chat to me and share with me your experience back at home. I'm giving you this platform. Speak to your people, tell them what to watch out for, where to catch you, how to follow you. I've seen a lot of people ask some stuff. Please go ahead.
okay. So I'll just look through the comments. I think I saw a question.
Yeah, there were a bunch of questions.
Somebody was asking something about
I
about.
saw a very interesting one. Absalom was asking, what do we think, and maybe this is for you, gastronomy in terms of African food is?
I mean, when you look at the African food and the culinary art or the culinary industry in Africa, I like the direction in which it's going because it's becoming different. We are trying new things, but I really don't agree with the fact that continental food has dominated. And as I said before, any restaurant you go into, there's less of African food and more of French and European and American food.
That's
And
true.
as I said, it's due to a lot of factors. The presentation of food, because in Ghana, for instance, you go into a restaurant and you order mashed potatoes with lamb chops, and the way it comes is beautiful. But you order an indigenous meal and it comes, presentation is not. I think what we need to do is really dip into the gastronomy of African food and really dip into the art of cooking African food. The spice we have here on this continent is amazing. And there are so many. You can introduce different flavors. You can make 2,000 meals and they may all taste or have different flavors because of the scope of spices we have out here. We need to practice more. We need to do more of research, and we need to do more of sampling, cook with different things. I personally wanted to do an African tour, which you did when we were in South Africa. You mentioned you went to different African countries to cook, so I could at least scope into the different flavors and ingredients that are specific to different countries in Africa. I went to Sierra Leone with Idris Alba in December, and I loved the kind of things they had. They had limited ingredients that I suffered a lot to find, But then they also have very ingredients that were specific to them. I was in Nigeria, the same thing. Nigeria has a lot of herbs and spices that are very, very flavorful. We need to dip down and put the African food and African cuisine on the map. Because when it comes to seasoning food and seasoning meat, chicken, we are the best. We season things and then, spices, you feel the flavors and, the juiciness of every meat that we cook. Even from our grandmothers cooking at home, they spice the meat and cook it a bit before they fry it, and all of these need to take the African serious. I basically think, and it's the truth, African food is not being taken serious across the world, and that is what we need to do. So even we have to have a lot of fine dining restaurants coming up with the African concepts, So, for instance, you go to South Africa, you can find a fine dining restaurant that presents indigenous African food in an exclusive way or in a fine dining way, and that is how we can uplift the culinary arts in the African food on the continent, and that's definitely how we can do it.
I certainly have to agree with you there. And funny enough, we were just about to open our restaurant just before they announced lockdown.
Oh.
And I mean, we had a very pan-African menu. And I really think we're going to start telling that story, telling the African story around food. Because you're right, our flavors, are unmatched anywhere in the world. Just in terms of intensity and how fresh and how great of a produce we have. So it's on us to actually put it on the map. It's not anyone's job. So we got to do the work. And we got to make sure that as chefs, we have that conversation to constantly remind each other that we've got a duty to our continent. We deserve to put it out there and make sure people understand how great our food are.
I mean, and I think it all falls down on us. I don't really so there are chefs who cook in restaurants and hotels who cook by the book, but we don't cook from our hearts. We cook, we add flavors that we want, we experiment, and we are able to create recipes and create dishes. So it's up to us to tell stories with our food and put the continent on the world map when it comes to culinary arts. I think I saw another question. Someone was asking, what kind of supplies do you need to import and from where? African produce. So it's hard. And when I was in South Africa, when I was coming back to Ghana, I made 2 suitcases with meat to bring back to Ghana because, when it comes to meat, South Africa has good quality meat in comparison to Ghana. The problem is when you go to the butcheries here, the way the animals are killed, they go under a lot of stress. So by the time the meat is, the way you kill an animal
Of
determines
course.
the texture
Yeah.
of so if they are under a lot of fear and stress and you kill it, that's very tough. And like, for instance, if you need very important cuts like the chops, the racks, the steaks from these meats, you don't need to have a very tough, and that's the problem with Ghana. In all honesty, it's very hard to find good quality meat. So I do some imports from South Africa, and when it comes to bacon, smoked salmon, sausages, you can buy them from London, or somebody coming from London, so they make a pack for you. I think that is because if you look at the scope of clientele that we have or my business has, they travel all around the world and eat good food and eat food cooked with good quality materials. Good quality ingredients, right? Like good
Yeah.
cuts of meat.
Yeah.
So you can't cook a steak for them, and the steak is so tough they gotta chew, 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 chew. You need to add the experiences. So you need to also go out of the way and try to give them the experiences that they pay for. So yes, that's why I import some of the things. But everything else like vegetables you can find here. There are good farmers here. Here it's very accessible because you can go directly to the farm and purchase from the farm. So
Nice.
to every other ingredient apart from meat and sausages and smoked salmon. When it comes to prawns and seafood, you can go because we are right by the Gulf. You can just go by the sea and then you can get some of the fishermen to give you good big lobsters and big prawns and sea mussels and all of these things. So I mean, it's some of the things it's rather unfortunate we have to bring from outside the country, but I hope as we progress as a country, we will be able to have good slaughterhouses and good that would blame you
Yeah.
the cattle access so that we can get good cuts of meat from these produce.
I think that's an opportunity right there, and got a
Exactly.
few guys that do really decent meat this side, so maybe conversations to have in the future.
And,
But
I think Butcher Boys is a South African company. Eh?
yeah,
Butcher Boys has a branch out here, but the prices are outrageous. I won't even lie to
I can
you.
only imagine. I can only
Prices
imagine.
are off the hook. Like it's crazy.
I can only imagine. No,
Yeah.
that's insane, man. But you know what, brother? It's been so amazing talking to you. Just the perspective that you've given to me about Ghana, about your experience. It teaches me quite a lot about what's happening on the continent, and it's so relevant that we had to start, and with you specifically, because we have to speak an African conversation first
Yeah.
before we go outside into the world, because our problems are probably more the same than what everybody else is experiencing. So I really really appreciate your time, and thanks for availing yourself, man. Do you have any questions for me before we close it up?
I mean, I think what I would like to know is how you are coping in this period, and how you've been able to differentiate your business from other businesses, I guess.
So I think for me, Kwame, a couple of months before the lockdown, I started something on WhatsApp called WhatsApp Chef, right? And essentially, WhatsApp Chef is a culinary school in your pocket. We have people that subscribe. It's about 99 bucks. I don't know what that exchange rate is, but it's 100 rand a month. And I exchange recipes with the guys. I have full on conversation around the struggles that they have in the kitchen. We do video, cooking sessions. We do information sessions as well, almost like a class style where I'll talk. I mean, just yesterday, we did kitchen essentials, what you need to have in your pantry, what you need to have in your kitchen. But this is a bigger kind of picture for me in growing the audience. I know that from that group of people, they will order stuff from me. They will hire us to do stuff. So it's a broader, perspective for me. And similarly with, starting this chat, it's about reaching out to, peers out there in the world, and exposing Freedom's Kitchen to a much bigger platform and a much bigger variety of clientele. And who knows, anything could come from this. And so for me, it's always about trying to stay relevant, trying to stay top of mind, and really creating content that people are going to enjoy, and take something from. And I mean, judging by the comments here, I can see that a lot of guys are enjoying the interaction. A lot of them understand and know what you're talking about. I saw someone talking about the beef they're going through quite the most. So it's lovely to do this, and I really want you to champion this, for us and for yourself, with your mates, and people that are in the same industry.
The first thing we need to do is do a live cooking.
Yep.
We have to do a live cooking, and then what I'll do is, I'm sure you have very interesting people from all around the continent. You are getting ready to have conversations or speak to these people. I'll also reach down to like the people I know around the continent who will be very interested to have this conversation with you, and then just have the conversation, because that conversation is very needed. Like we need to tell it as it is. For people to know the pandemic has been a big blow to, especially to the food industry. But there's always a way to bounce back from it. And let's try African cuisine and African food and the flavors that we can find on the continent, and let's make the culinary arts from this continent very prominent in the world.
Amazing, man. Amazing. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate it. And don't be a stranger. Let's keep in touch.
I will definitely will. Okay.
Fantastic, brother. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I hope you enjoyed that informative session. Once again, from your homes, give it up for Chef Kwame. All the best, my brother, with your business. And I hope we can catch up soon.
Please, definitely.
Awesome, brother. Awesome.
All right, bye.
Take care, sir.
Bye.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, gets us to the conversation with Chef Kwame. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you've learned something, and I see, people from back in Ghana really enjoyed that. And get your friends involved. Get them to get in touch with me. If you know guys in the culinary arts space, anywhere in the world, get them in touch. The handle is at Freedom's Kitchen. We just spoke to at Bishville. That's BIISH Ville. Get in touch, guys. We love to serve people. We love to share food. And now, more than ever, we love to chat. See you next time at the next Chef Chat. Cheers, guys.